You're wasting your life if you don't do this before 7 a.m. That might sound extreme, but every morning you skip this, you hand your future to someone else. You feel behind, unfocused, scattered, and you think it's just a bad day. It's not. It's a pattern, one that's quietly stealing your time, your momentum, and your identity. Let me show you what's really happening every morning before you even open your eyes, the morning that's controlling you. You wake up to a sound you didn't ask for, your alarm, your phone, a ping, a buzz, a demand. Before you even get out of bed, the world is already pulling at you. So what do? You reach for your phone, you check messages, you scroll, you tell yourself you're easing into the day, but what you're really doing is surrendering. Right there before your feet hit the ground, you've already made the most dangerous trade of your life. You've traded your direction for distraction, and it feels normal. Everyone does it. You brush your teeth while checking notifications. You rush through breakfast. You start answering people before you've even asked yourself a single question. And by the time you're fully awake, you're already behind. You think you're tired. You think you're busy. But deep down, you know the truth. You haven't had a single moment of silence, of control, since the moment you opened your eyes. And here's the part no one tells you. It's not just your morning that's being hijacked. It's your ability to think clearly, to move with intention, to build something that matters. Because when you wake up reacting, your brain stays reactive all day. You don't decide what matters. You respond to what yells the loudest. You move, but you don't progress. You complete tasks, but you don't feel accomplished. You check off to-do lists, but the nagging feeling never leaves. I'm meant for more than this, and you are. But you'll never find that more in the middle of noise. You find it in the space you've been avoiding. You've been starting your day like a passenger, not a pilot, letting the world hand you a script instead of writing your own. And the scariest part is, you've been doing it for so long it feels normal. But it's not normal, it's just familiar. And familiar is where most potential goes to die. Because here's the truth. Every day that starts without direction becomes another day spent in reaction. And over time, that adds up. Not in hours, in years. That feeling you have, like time is speeding up, like the days are blending together. That's not your imagination. That's the cost of starting your mornings on autopilot. So ask yourself, what kind of life are you building if the first thing you do every day is ignore it? What happens in those first 60 minutes sets the tone for the next 16 hours. And if you keep handing over those minutes without thinking, you're not just wasting time, you're wasting your life. But this was just the beginning, because the real power isn't in knowing this, it's in taking back what's been stolen. And that starts with 1 hour, the hour you never claimed. There's a window of time you've never fully owned. It happens right after you wake up, before the noise, before the requests, before the day gets its grip on you. Most people don't even notice it. They rush past it, waste it, ignore it. But in that small sliver of morning between silence and chaos, there's something rare, a moment where the world hasn't told you who to be yet. That's the moment that separates the people who drift from the ones who build. And if you don't claim it, someone else will, because here's the thing most people never realize. By the time it's 7 a.m., your attention is already gone. You've given it to messages, headlines, notifications, and the needs of other people. You've let their urgency rewrite your direction. And when that happens, the rest of your day isn't yours, it's theirs. But what if you did the opposite? What if, before the sun was fully up, before the first notification could touch your mind, you stepped into the 1 hour that belongs completely to you? Not to your boss, not to your partner, not to the world, just you. This hour is where the future gets built. Quietly, silently, before anyone's watching, because there's a hidden power in that hour before 7 a.m. And it's not just the time itself, it's what that hour gives you: clarity without competition, focus without friction, thought without interruption. It's the one time of day you can think without reacting. You can choose without defending. You can lead instead of follow. And you don't need a perfect routine. You don't need to become some kind of early rising machine. You just need to take back 1 hour and protect it like your life depends on it, because it does. That 1 hour in the morning is the only time the world hasn't touched you yet. And if you wait too long to decide who you are, everyone else will do it for you. The truth is, this window has always been there, but you've been sleeping through it literally and mentally. And while you were asleep, so was your direction. That hour, it doesn't just give you a head start, it gives you back your edge. It's the mental space where ideas are born, where strategy replaces stress, where stillness makes room for vision. It's the hour that clears the fog and points the compass. But most people trade that hour for sleep they don't need, or screens they can't stop checking. And then they wonder why the rest of their day feels like a blur. You don't need a bigger calendar. You need this hour. You don't need to work more. You need to think better. And that starts before 7 a.m. because this hour isn't about how early you wake up. It's about who you become when you finally stop giving away your mind. And once you feel the clarity that lives inside that hour, you'll start to wonder how you ever survived without it. But understanding the hour is one thing, protecting it, that's something else entirely. Why most people can't escape the noise. You've claimed the hour, You've made the decision. Tomorrow it's going to be different. You wake up early, you sit down, you try to think, but something feels off. You're restless, you feel pulled. And so just for a second, you check your phone. 5 minutes. That's it. Just a little scroll to see what's going on. One message turns into five. One notification leads to an article. And before you know it, the hour is gone. And you tell yourself it's no big deal. You'll try again tomorrow. But here's the hard truth. You didn't just lose the hour. You lost the mindset. You see, the biggest threat to your life's direction isn't a crisis. It's the constant low-level noise that never gives you a second to think clearly. The average person checks their phone over 90 times a day. But it's not the 90 that breaks you. It's the first one. That first check, the one you tell yourself is harmless, is the one that flips your brain from focused to fractured. Because once your mind opens that door, it doesn't shut easily. You're not just seeing information, you're absorbing obligation. Every message is someone else's agenda. Every scroll is someone else's life. Every tap pulls you further away from the one person you actually need to connect with, yourself. And the worst part? It feels normal. The world has trained you to confuse informed with prepared, busy with important, connected with alive. But none of that is real. It's noise dressed as value. You've been taught to wake up and react, wake up and check in, wake up and be available. But here's the question no one's asking. Available to who, for what, and at what cost? Because that cost is real. And it's not just measured in time. It's measured in attention, in energy, in focus, in the slow, steady erosion of your ability to build a life that actually feels like your own. And most people, they never escape it. They spend their whole life busy and still feel behind. They never ask why. They never take back that hour. And so day after day, year after year, they drown in the shallow stuff. But you don't have to, because once you see how deep the noise goes, how early it starts, you can do something most people never do. You can shut it off, not forever, not perfectly, but long enough to finally hear your own voice again. And when that voice returns, something powerful happens. You stop being pulled and you start pulling your life in the direction it was always meant to go. And that's when everything changes. So now you know the hour matters. The real question is, what do you do with it? The 7 a.m. turning point. Because here's where most people make their second biggest mistake. They finally wake up early and then they waste it. They check off tasks. They reply to emails. They clean the kitchen or catch up on the news. It feels productive, sure, but it's not powerful, because this hour isn't about being busy. It's about being in control. You weren't given this hour to get ahead on errands. You were given this hour to get ahead on life. And that requires a different kind of focus, one most people never tap into. This isn't about planning your schedule. It's about designing your direction. It's not about doing more. It's about thinking deeper. It's about asking questions that actually matter. What do I need to solve right now? What's been pulling at me that I keep avoiding? What's the one thing I can do today that actually moves my life forward? Most people never ask those questions. They're too busy chasing tasks that don't matter, while the big things, decisions, clarity, direction, get ignored. But when you use this hour for what it's meant for, everything changes. You sit in silence, not because it's trendy, but because it clears the static. You write, not to impress, but to untangle your own thoughts. You think not about your to-do list, but about your vision, your next move, your truth, and suddenly you're not just awake. You're alive. You're leading the day instead of reacting to it. You're walking into your tasks with intention instead of anxiety. You're no longer wondering where your time went because you claimed it before the world had a chance to. Steal it. This hour doesn't just sharpen your day. It sharpens you. It reconnects you with something most people lose in adulthood, the ability to move with clarity, not just urgency. And once you start building your mornings this way, people will notice. They won't know what changed, but you'll be calmer, quieter, more certain. You'll move through chaos with direction. You'll stop chasing everything. You'll start choosing what matters. Because in that quiet hour, you remembered who you are. That's the 7 a.m. turning point. Not a morning routine, not a checklist, but a return to yourself before the noise can tell you who to be. And once you cross that point, there's no going back. But now the question becomes even more important. If you've claimed the hour and cleared the space, what exactly should you be doing with it? What you should actually do before 7 a.m. This hour isn't about doing more. It's about doing what actually matters. And yet most people fill it with fluff. They wake up early, they sit down, and then they waste it. There's only one reason to protect this hour, and it's not productivity. It's not discipline. It's not even success. It's alignment. This hour exists so you can get brutally clear on what matters most and start building it before anything else gets in your way. That's it. And if you don't use the hour that way, you're not getting stronger. You're just getting busier. So what do you actually do? You sit down, and before you touch anything, no emails, no texts, no headlines, you ask yourself one hard question. What am I avoiding right now? That's your target. That's your signal. That's the part of your life that's begging for attention and keeps getting ignored. Maybe it's the business you keep talking about but never start. Maybe it's the body you say you'll take care of someday. Maybe it's the difficult conversation, the overdue decision, the painful truth. Whatever it is, this is the hour to face it. Not conquer it, just face it. Because the moment you do, momentum begins. This is the difference between people who look busy and people who actually change their lives. It's not that they do more, it's that they do the right thing first before the noise creeps in. And here's a rule to live by. If it matters to your future, it belongs in this hour. Not in the afternoon, not when you get to it, not buried under a to-do list. It belongs here, in the quiet, in the clarity, before 7 a.m. Because this hour isn't just early, it's sacred. You're not doing it for show, you're doing it because it builds the muscle that moves everything else, your ability to choose what matters most. And once you start training that muscle daily, something shifts. You stop being afraid of the hard things. You stop waiting for the right time. You stop letting fear write your story. Instead, you walk into your day knowing the most important thing, you already did it. You didn't just think about it. You didn't just plan it. You faced it. You moved it. You built it. And that feeling of being ahead before the day even starts is the greatest fuel there is. But here's the twist. Even with all of this, most people still fail. And it's not because they're lazy. It's because they don't realize where they're losing their power. Because the real danger isn't during the hour itself. It's in the 5 minutes right before it begins. The 5-minute mistake that steals your hour. You wake up, you feel strong, focused, ready. But instead of walking straight into your hour, you pause. You think, I'll just check one thing. Maybe it's Slack or email. Maybe it's your notifications or that message you forgot to open last night. It takes 5 seconds to open the app, maybe 10, but it doesn't stop there. 5 seconds becomes 5 minutes. And in those 5 minutes, your hour is gone. Not physically, not technically, but mentally completely. Because the moment you let distraction in, your mind is no longer yours. You've handed it over. And here's what's terrifying. Most people don't even notice it happening. They still go through the motions. They sit down with their notebook or their journal. They try to think, but their brain is somewhere else. Half scattered, half occupied, half reacting to the thing they just saw. The silence feels uncomfortable now. The thoughts won't land. The clarity's gone, and they blame themselves. They think they're unfocused, lazy, unmotivated. But it's not that, it's the 5 minutes, because the hour doesn't get destroyed in the middle. It gets hijacked before it even begins. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. You start noticing the cost of every mental tab you open too early, the article you skim, the post you scroll, the tiny comment that hijacks your emotions and redirects your thoughts. Those little moments, they're not harmless, they're thieves. And what they're stealing isn't time, it's presence, it's depth, it's access to the part of your brain that actually knows what matters. Because the truth is, focus doesn't begin when you start your task, it begins in the moments, right before it. So if you want to win the hour, you have to defend the 5 minutes before it starts like your life depends on it, because in a way it does. This is where the game is won. You don't open anything. You don't just check. You don't scroll. You don't peek. You enter the hour clean. No noise, no baggage, no residue from the outside world. Just you, your mind, and the mission. And the difference? It's night and day. You go deeper. You think sharper. You create instead of consume. You move your life, not just your schedule. That's the power of the 5-minute guardrail. Most people never build it, but if you do, that one move will protect more growth, more clarity, and more results than any planner, system, or app ever could. Because this hour before the world gets loudy is where the real breakthroughs happen, when the world starts to shift around you. Something strange happens when you protect this hour long enough. At first, it's subtle. You just feel a little more clear, a little more grounded. You're not rushing, you're not reacting, you're thinking. But give it a few days, and the people around you start to notice. They'll say you seem quieter, more focused, less scattered. They won't know exactly what changed, but they'll feel it. And the truth is, you'll feel it too. Because for the first time in a long time, you're not playing defense with your life. You're building something, not just on paper, not just in theory, but in real time. You're not just checking boxes, you're choosing what matters. And that choice starts bleeding into the rest of your day. The little things don't bother you like they used to. You're no longer overwhelmed by every request, every distraction, every urgent thing that shows up in your inbox. You've already faced the most important thing before 7 a.m., and now everything else feels lighter. You're not reacting anymore. You're designing. You're moving through the world like someone who knows where they're going. like someone who made a decision that morning that everything else now answers to. And here's what's crazy. It's not just mental, it's physical, it's emotional. You feel different in your body, in your posture, in your voice. You stop rushing through conversations. You stop over-explaining. You start owning your space. And all of this because of 1 hour that no one sees. That's the real secret. The world doesn't need to see it, it just needs to feel it. Because when you show up with that kind of presence, calm, clear, intentional, people respond to you differently. You don't chase opportunity, it starts noticing you. You don't beg for time, you start controlling it. You're not running to catch up anymore, you're setting the pace. This is what happens when you live from alignment, not reaction. It's not about being better than anyone. It's not about perfection. It's about walking into your life already full, already focused, already clear. And that energy is rare. In a world addicted to noise, it stands out. In a culture that celebrates hustle, it feels rebellious. But here's the truth. Most people won't get this far. They'll protect the hour for a day, maybe a week, but the pressure of the world will come knocking. The noise will creep back in. The doubt will whisper, you can skip today. And that's the moment you have to choose again. Do you let it go or do you draw the line? Because when you do choose to protect that hour again and again and again, it stops being a habit. It becomes identity. You're no longer someone who hopes for clarity. You're someone who creates it. You're no longer waiting for motivation. You're moving with purpose. And the world around you, it starts shifting too. Not because the chaos disappeared, but because you stopped giving it control. That's when you realize something powerful. You didn't just build a morning. You built a foundation no one else can touch. Build the wall no one can cross. By now, you felt it. The shift, the silence, the power that comes when you claim your morning. But here's what separates the few who transform from the many who relapse. The wall. Because once you start protecting that hour, life starts testing you. The kid wakes up early. The email feels urgent. A client calls. A crisis pops up. Suddenly that sacred hour, the one that changed everything, feels negotiable again. And that's where most people fall. They think they've failed. They think it's not working. But the truth is this was always part of the test. Because the world doesn't want you focused. It wants you available. It wants your attention, your time, your urgency. It wants the hour back. So you have a choice. You can keep bending, keep shifting, keep letting everyone else's chaos crack your clarity, or you can build the wall that says, this 1 hour is mine, no matter what. And that wall has to be solid. No leaks, no exceptions, no apologies. It's not rude, it's not selfish, it's necessary, because if you don't protect your focus, no one else will. This hour isn't something you fit in, it's the foundation you build everything else on. You want to grow a business? Protect the hour. You want to fix your health? Protect the hour. You want to reconnect with your purpose, your values, your vision? Protect the hour. That wall is your contract with your future self. And here's the beautiful part. Once you build it, the world adjusts. People stop interrupting you, not because they suddenly respect your time, but because you do. Your brain stops reaching for distraction, not because the urges disappear, but because you've trained it to sit in silence and listen. You stop reacting to everything around you, and you start living from something deeper inside you. The wall doesn't keep things out, it keeps you in focus, in flow, in alignment. This is the edge no one talks about, the unfair advantage that can't be bought, downloaded, or copied. Because it's not a hack, it's a commitment. 1 hour, no negotiation, every single day. And when you build that wall, when you say this space belongs to me, you start moving through life like someone who cannot be shaken. Not because things are easy, but because your foundation is unbreakable. And suddenly, the distractions don't hit the same. The noise doesn't pull as hard. The chaos doesn't feel personal because you're not starting your day inside the storm anymore. You're starting above it. That's what the wall gives you. And when you build it, protect it, and live inside it, you finally understand. You weren't just taking back your mornings. You were taking back your life. The hour that rebuilds everything you thought you were just wasting time in the morning. But now you know it was bigger than that. You were wasting your clarity, your power, your identity. Every morning you started in distraction. You drifted further from who you were meant to become. Not because you didn't care, not because you weren't trying, but because no one told you the truth. No one told you that your life is decided in the quiet moments, in the minutes before anyone's watching, in the space where you choose direction over distraction. That space lives before 7 a.m. That's the hour the world forgot about, but it's the hour that remembers you, the version of you that doesn't need permission, the version that doesn't wait for the right time, the version that already knows what needs to be done and just needs space to do it. You don't need more hours in the day. You need more hours that actually mean something. You don't need to move faster. You need to move from center. And that starts before the noise, before the scrolling, before the world takes over. It starts with you in silence doing what you've avoided with full attention. That's the difference between drifting through decades or designing a future you actually want to wake up for. Because this isn't about becoming a morning person. It's about becoming a decisive person, someone who doesn't surrender the most valuable hour of their life to things that don't matter, someone who doesn't wait for clarity, they build it, someone who doesn't hope to feel aligned, they train it daily, deliberately, before 7 a.m. So let's make this clear. The calendar won't save you. The apps won't save you. Even more time won't save you. But this hour will, because this hour isn't about time. It's about identity. The way you spend it teaches your brain who you are. And if you waste it, you'll spend your life proving that version true. But if you protect it, if you show up with focus, with discipline, with courage, you won't just change your mornings, you'll change your default, you'll rewire your standards, you'll upgrade your choices, you'll walk into your day already ahead, not just in work, but in who you are becoming. Because the truth is, you're not wasting your mornings, you're wasting your life if you don't do this before 7 a.m.